Good day and welcome back to Elementary 72 Gaming. Before I get into today's patch discussion, I'd like to ask you all to please leave a like or comment on my video, consider subscribing to my channel, and if you don't like content, please leave a comment saying where it has gone wrong. Okay, so today's video is the patch note and discussion. Now, immediately first thing to note is there are no patch notes for today. This was just a regular maintenance. And continuing on, let's talk about the discussion in game. A lot of players have been worried about the recent decline in the number of active players and how it has been noticed with the number of players moving in and out of Jita. Now, the game isn't about to die anytime soon. It is a new game release, and this is standard flow on 90% of all games. A game will start, and within the first 2 months, a lot of players will reach what they believe is their peak of play, and some players will quit. Other players will continue playing, and they'll gradually fall off the game as well. But then you get a certain group of players who are your hardcore gamers who generally will sit on the game till they collect all their trophies or until they've mastered the game. Now, you don't get a very high amount of hardcore players like that there in every game. But games like Eve Echoes, I'm suspecting that you have a lot of hardcore players. Now, hardcore players will be more or less PvP and PvE. Mining and industry is more of a casual type of play. It's a very rich field gain. So the players who are going to stick around in PvE and PvP are going to play majority of the role of the active players. So let's think about it carefully and discuss where everybody is going to focus up their builds and how things are going to change in the game coming up in this month. So a lot of players are going to do the upgrade experts in their weapons. Now the final level in the upgrade expert is 1.1 million SP. Now looking at that figure and the fact that you can take 10 days off and regain all your rewards for that time, I would think that I would take 10 days off in between that 1 million SP and keep gaining everything and speeding it up slowly piece by piece. Now, what does that mean for the overall play of the game? For the regular player, what does that mean? That means that you're going to see less and less players coming on and you're going to get smaller and smaller amounts of traffic. That opens up two opportunities for you: moving through nullsec and farming inquisitors, scouts, and dead space, and it also opens up the opportunity for you to go and mine in nullsec. That's for your industry players on the smaller minority. Now, for PvP players, this is one of the worst times ever. If they go too hard into PvP, PvP dies. If they don't play PvP, they don't succeed and they don't keep growing. That means they now have to start branching out into the PvP factions of the game and start pulling up their skills in PvE. Now, those PvP players have generally went with glass balls. Sorry about the background noise. There's nothing I can do about it. It's a herd of cattle near my house. It's not that I live on a farm or anything like that. This is just a random thing. I live in South Africa. Things like this happen. And I'm sorry about the noise. Okay, so continuing forward, the next thing for you to know in terms of your gameplay is what are you going to do when you have this open opportunities, especially for PvP players. Now, as I said, they can branch out into PvE. Now, what do the PvE players do? They need to start hitting the goals that are set for them so they can keep getting ready for the next stage of PvE. Now, when I say keep getting ready for the next stage, I mean purchase up all the weapons you need, upgrade, build new vessels, have multiple backup vessels, have multiple vessels, be able to continue with your SP gains, keep moving forward in the game, make yourself a nice, strong, all round player. Now, this is a chance for PvE players to be able to get into PvP as well. But they're not going to really play that heavy in PvP, they're going to stick more to their PvE. Now, let's give a good example. If you're a PvE, sorry about this, my voice is dying on me. I've had to redo this video several times. I did have a very good cut originally, but there was too much of noise and it drowned out about 2 minutes of my video. So sorry about all the inconvenience in my voice. So moving forward, the next aspect for you to focus on as a PvE player is you're making your ISK gains. Now, how do you make your ISK gains? Every single PvE player should be aiming to make 500 million ISK a week this week. And next week, you should be aiming at 1 billion ISK. And the week thereafter, you should be aiming at 5 billion ISK. And you have to keep growing that figure. So, how do you keep growing the figure into those ridiculous figures? Option number one, learn to solo Dead Space. Now, Dead Space missions are ridiculously difficult and the rewards are ridiculously well paying. So, jump into a Dead Space, blast it out, win the Dead Space, and come out with. Okay, I'm not exactly sure what you're going to get from your Dead Space because it can be a variety of options. Come out with your C-type weapons, come out with your C-type shields, your level 3 specs for your rigs, and then keep climbing up, get to a T10 Dead Space, learn to solo a T10 Dead Space. Now, saying that, I already know how difficult the prospect is, but hardcore players will find ways. Now, I'm not the hardest hardcore player in the world. I'm a mediocre hardcore player to say the least. So, when it comes to hardcore playing, I'll solo T8 all the way in the mission till T8, and T10 I might take a fleet in. Now, when it comes to this, there's a simple reason. I know for a fact when it comes to T10 missions, I'm not going to want to solo it because of the time wastage and the fact that I'm going to fall asleep. Now, you as an individual need to be thinking about whether you can handle it, whether you can build something to take on these hard missions. Remember, battleships are very tanky and they also hit really hard. They have like double your damage, double your range, and they have the advantage of their armor being triple your cruiser's general power. And if you're running a battle cruiser, remember they have range over your battle cruiser, and you lose a ton of shield before you even get into range to fight. Now, all of this should be added into your calculation, and you should be thinking about your next standard, which is the battle itself. So, how do you battle battleships? You need to make sure that you have a speed advantage, number one. Number two, you need to make sure that you have weapon damage. So, C-type weapons into level 10 encounters or missions. Everything in T10, you need to have those ready. Now, remember, as we reach T8, we're going to get a flood of players coming back in the game. And as the research is going with the SP, you're going to get players coming in for a week or two, and then they're just going to die off when they do the big research, which takes a week or two. So you're going to keep getting players coming on and off, and corps are going to have to adjust to this. You are in the off season of play. And when we reach T8, that's tech level 8, you're going to get this surge of players. They're going to come in troves in that first week, the second week, the third week, and then you're going to get this death of the game again. But it's going to feel worse at this range because even more players are going to fall off. A lot of players are going to join them in their strategies and join them in other games that they are playing. Now, even I, who plays this game quite hardcore to make 80 million a day basically in ISK, okay, I'm lying. At current, I'm making 4 of those super soft drinks is what I'm gonna do a day. So that's 100 million if I'm lucky. And if I make anything extra on it, that's maybe, let's say, if I get just one Aurora on each, that's 40 million, 140. So maybe about 140 million a day is what I can do in ISK if I'm gonna play right and play hardcore. But if I'm doing other things in the day, if I'm doing other activities, I'm most probably only going to do about 2 of them, and I'll fall behind with just making something like 50 ISK. So let's move forward and think about what we are going to be doing and where we need to go in the slow method and the correct form. So I'm actually really thrashed at the moment. I've done this video like 3 or 4 times, and I'm really sorry that my speech is a little bit incongruent. It's just that I'm having a tough time keeping my voice up, and I might not be able to put out the next video. Today might just be my worst day in a long while. So sorry about that if the shop build video doesn't come out later. But anyway, let's continue on with what I was discussing. So you need to know where you are playing. Now, you get the hardcore player who wants to just conquer everything in the game. That means you want to complete all the storylines solo. And then you get the hardcore player who wants to collect everything in the game. You want to have the best of everything. They're never going to be satisfied until they have those T4 rigs. So they're going to stay on all the way till they get every single T4 rig and have been able to construct it. Sorry. So you're going to have these players who are going to stick around for quite a while. And when T8 opens, they are going to definitely get what they want, and they may also start disappearing from the game. Now, now when it comes to the overall impact of all of these decisions, you need to be thinking where you are going as a player, where you will be as that player. You need to know who you are. Now, I keep saying that, and it's not easy for me to tell you who you are or tell you how to figure out who you are. Number one, make sure you are playing where you are meant to play. If you are a PvE player, don't think about jumping into PvP just for ISK. It's not going to make it fun for you, it's going to make the game more tedious. So keep to your PvE. If you are a PvP player, remember you can't go hardcore at the moment. The game population is dropping. And if you hit the casuals too hard, the game population is going to grow even smaller. Look for a war. I have the war room. I'm willing to go and put you up there looking for a war if you are a PvP corp and you have nothing to do. Don't go hitting the casuals all the time. Put it out there. Get into a war. I'll put it out there. I'm serious. And you know, CNK, Reds, OP4S, all of them watch this. I've had messages and comments from them on certain videos, but none of their leadership seems to have the guts to jump out on a video. And I'm not talking nonsense. I've literally put out a Discord link, and not one person has even entered into that Discord. That just says that Reds and OP4S are either afraid of everybody in the game, or they just don't care at all, or they're useless. Whichever way it is, that's me just trash talking them a little bit. I'm more or less thinking they on the useless side of the game. They have no guts to speak. You know, it happens. You get a lot of these guys, they all talk and no show. I might just be one of them. But anyhow, let's continue on. So, if you're a PvP corp, the war room is open to you. Get a hold of me on on my Discord. The Discord link will be put into all the war room videos. It will be at the bottom, but it won't be on all my videos. The reason is I am going to make that Discord channel mainly for me getting a hold of you guys. I will private talk to you, and that's how I will get the information. Some players, I will do one or two conversations with you first, and then I will do an official interview. It won't show Eve Echoes, it will show Discord when I interview you, so it's going to be a different type of format when you look at the video. Now, this is going out to everybody across the entire community. I am open for your wars. Please consider sending me information if your corp is in a war. If you can, get your leader to give me some information. If you are one of your diplomats, give me some information. If you're just a regular player, give me some information. I'll put up a little bit of a tidbit here. You can post it up in your Discord and try and get them to join in on the conversation. We want to know what's going on in the game. We need to know where the dangerous areas are. We need to know who the allies and who the foes are. We need to know whether the 100 or so thousand players who are going to remain online all the time should be looking out for another corp. And this game is all about politics, so don't worry about trash talking. Don't worry about being the bad guy, because if you are the bad guy, you're going to have more fun in PvP. You might get to kill every single member of another corp. That's just how much of fun there is in PvP. I am not yet into PvP. I will only get into PvP later in the game. Okay, so right, so that's my message out to PvP. Now, PvE players, as I said, you need to get those ISK scores up. And buying story missions and completing them is one of the fastest ways to do it. Now, don't think, no, but that's so difficult. How am I going to get? Just go for it. T8 isn't impossible to solo. You can do those small missions like Mega Corporation. I'm not sure which one it is um, in Galante space. I've done them in Corp. So in fleets, and in a fleet they seem so much easier than they do solo. When you do it solo, it seems so much more difficult because those battle cruisers are so tough, and they 2-on-1 you and they 3-on-1 you, and it eats through your shield and it eats your capacitor, and you don't even know what's going on half the way through that battle. And you need to think about it and get into those missions, complete those missions. The bounties of those missions are so huge, and then you get the loot chest at the end. You open it, and you can either open it and play luck of the draw, and you can get an 80 million piece of gear, or you can get a 500,000 ISK piece of gear, or you can get a piece of gear that's worth nothing. There is the catch when you open those boxes, or you can just sell the box straight up for the 20 million on the market that it's selling for at the moment. And that's where you can go. And remember, those missions take hours to complete solo. They might even take you a day or two. 300 million a day for 2 days. That means you can do one every 2 days. That's 3 missions in a week, 900 million ISK. You almost at the million reach for next week. And if you get all of your elite gear, your C type gear, fit it out onto your ship, next week you might be able to do one of each of these every day. That's 300, 600, 900, and you get it. It's climbing up 2.1 million for the week thereafter. And you at that, not 2.1 million, sorry, 2.1 billion ISK. And that is when you are getting into the game. And you have extra time on a Saturday, extra time on a Sunday. You can do a second or third round. And that's when you're going to make even more. You can make it to 2.7 or 30 million 3 billion ISK, sorry, a week. And that is how you do it. You keep farming those missions. You keep buying them and doing them, because there's always a player who is farming them up and not doing it because it's too difficult for them, or they're too scared to take the risk. Take the risk, complete them, load up that ISK, hold a safety net of 2 billion, buy a second ship, outfit it, have your backup, and go at it. Hit those missions hard. Build 101 different vessels, hold them on the side. Think about where you want to be, think about everything that you want in the game, and go for it. There's no reason to be afraid. You want to have a collection in one of your stations where you're hiding out some equipment? Have a collection. Have it as the collection of every single weapon in the game. It doesn't matter whether they're useless or whether they're the best. Just hold them and throw them in there. You want to go out and get every vessel in the game? Go looking through the nullsecks. Complete T10 Dead Space solo if you have to. Complete it in a fleet and pay people. It doesn't really matter. You just make sure you tell them what you want, and if it comes out, you want to purchase it. Make sure that the fleet knows it before they join you. Make sure that you have those things out there. And if you don't have that in your fleets, go on to the group Discord for Eve. The group Discord is the Eve Online official Discord. Jump onto their Discord, put out a message there. Get a fleet together, go together with them, rat, get what you need, hold the command of that fleet, build up your nice gear, build up your nice aspects. You're going to get players who are willing to help you out. You're going to get players who will help you out without taking any reward from those. They just want the bounties from the kills. And that is the beauty. You just have to put on equal shares, and they will be more than happy to help you. So think about this as we move forward, and hopefully by next week, we will all be at it with the best of the best. Seems like my voice is coming right again. As I said, my voice is really, really trashed. You would have noticed yesterday that 2 of my videos were really, really rough. That's because my voice starts fading out and fading in, and it takes me hours of drinking water and eating just to try and get my voice back. And if I don't eat properly in the day, my voice doesn't really get all that better, and then the next day it's just crappy videos because I can only handle one take at a time. Now, I never knew it was this difficult to make a take on a video, and I have done like 5 or 6 takes for this, so let's see what I can do. Whew, 20 minutes. It feels like I've been talking for an hour. It's literally that bad. So that's what my discussion was. And remember, don't let the drop in players discourage you. Your corps of 3 to 400, you should be expecting 50 players online. If you're a PvP corp, consider doing some PvE activities. It will help you out quite a bit. Stop hitting all of those neutrals and the casual players. We don't need to see the game drop to a zero population on the neutrals. We want to keep them out, and you don't want to have to fight your allies and make wars with every single one of your allies. So consider joining your allies in wars. And if you need a war, remember my war room is open for you. If you need to continue on with PvE, consider joining my Discord as well from the same war room link on the Discord. I do have a special ratting fleet this thing, which I used to run previously. I used to run it through LowSec, and now LowSec is just as safe as it was in the past. So players would be more than happy to jump in and go through with it. I may not join your fleets, but that's because I am busy trying to rat out as much as I can solo. And I am actually a collector. So at some point or the other, all those builds which everybody keeps telling me are trash, wait till they come out. I suspect that some of them might still be viable, some of them might be even better than what they were looking like. But let's see how it goes. I am going to run through this game. I am going to farm as hard as I possibly can farm, and hopefully, in about 2 months' time, when the rest of the players jump back in, I am going to have a solid ship. And with the solid ship, hopefully, I'm going to have a solid team and a solid amount of gameplay to go through. And I hope to see you all then. And I hope that everybody keeps well. So, have a good day. Thank you for